MP Camper of the U.S. Party elaborates on the Code of Conduct. Director of Jubilee Company is opening registration for drama classes. And Minister of Education holds virtual meet and greet. Those are the headlines for Monday, January the 18th, 2021. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie from Clinton. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story, a virtual meet and greet with guidance counselors of students who have obtained study financing in the Netherlands was held over the weekend. Minister of Education, Dr. Anders Rodolph Samuel, told viewers that during the consultations, one of the agenda points that was on the agenda for discussion was the success rate of the students of the Caribbean. He expounded further.
During the four countries consultations, so during the consultations between Aruba, Curacao, St. Martin, and the Netherlands, one of the topics that was on the agenda for discussion was the success rate of the students of the Caribbean, and those naturally of St. Martin in particular. In light of this discussion, I thought it would have been very good in order to introduce to you, the people of St. Martin, those persons who are part of the program of guiding our students during their first 2 years of their studies in Holland. It is very important to understand that the students who receive study financing from the government of St. Martin are the students who receive guidance from these guidance counselors. Any other person that is studying in the Netherlands can also get assistance via the St. Martin House with Miss Kelly Busby, and that will be explained later in the program. Today, I would like to thank all the guidance counselors up front for being here this afternoon with Dr. Anders James Brown, who is the leader of the group. And most naturally, the group is managed by the Division Study Financing of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports, Mr. Aventurin, who could not make it this afternoon.
And also speaking at the virtual meet and greet was Dr. Anders Clara James Brown from the Department of Education. Dr. Brown is a coordinator of the Student Guidance Services for students who are traveling to the Netherlands for tertiary education. She gave a brief history of herself.
Of St. Martin, I did La HAVO, the VWO, and in 2005, I left the island to further my studies in the Netherlands. I did a bachelor's in biology and medical laboratory research. After completing my bachelor's, I then moved on to my master's. I pursued my master's at the University of the VU, Universiteit van Amsterdam. There I did my master's in biomedical science. Then I moved on and I did a master's in management policy and entrepreneurship in health and life science. After completing my studies, I worked at various municipalities here in the Netherlands within the social domain. I also worked at the insurance. I worked at various healthcare institutions within the Netherlands. Right now, I'm currently pursuing a degree in education, and I'm now employed at The Hague University of Applied Science, working for the Faculty of Health, Nutrition and Sports. In Dutch, gezondheid, voeding en sport. Now, I would like to turn it over to Miss Clark, who would share some information with you. Miss Sabrina Clark, she would take the opportunity to share tips with you on how to go about choosing a study in the Netherlands and the concept of matching. Mr. Sherwin A. Pantaflet will share some practical tools with you on how it's like living in the Netherlands and how to become a successful student. Lastly, we have one of our own and also one of my former students, Mr. Short-Scott. He will share his personal journey with you. The Student Guidance Services comprises of a team of 8 young, enthusiastic professionals and multi-talented individuals located throughout the Netherlands. Our team is dynamic and innovative, and without them, there will be no program. For now, I would like to take the opportunity to publicly thank them. It also includes our colleagues from the Department of Division Study Financing. Moving on, being the coordinator of the team, I too function as a guidance counselor. For the area in the Zuid-Holland, the Zuidwest, in Dutch we say the Zuid-Holland area. The area within a guidance council operates is dependent on their city of residence. Myself and Miss Roxy O'Mara Richardson, who's unfortunately not present with us due to an emergency, predominantly function in the Zuid-Holland area. These provinces include and is not limited to the Rotterdam, The Hague, Leiden, Dordrecht, Capelle aan de IJssel, Spijkenisse, Slinge, Schiedam, just to name a few. Part of the team, we have Miss Anya Montasosa, also known as Miss Anya, one of our newly added members, who mentors students residing in the province of Overijssel and Gelderland. These provinces include cities such as Arnhem, Nijmegen, Enschede, Hengelo, just to name a few. Mr. Sherwin A. Pamphlet, one of S4 St. Martin Student Support Services former mentor, who now works as a counselor in the Noord-Holland, Utrecht, and Flevoland omgeving area. These provinces include cities such as Amsterdam, Hoofddorp, Almere, last but not least, the Utrecht area. Mistress Nebraska Hassel Hodge, also known as Miss Bressie, is also a seasoned mentor from the former S4 organization.
And in other news at this time, it's a new year, and some of you may need a challenge. Time to break out of your rut that the COVID-19 pandemic had you in 2020. So if you are interested in boosting your self-confidence or becoming a great actor or performer, the Jubilee Foundation is here to help you become the best that you can be. They are offering classes in performance theater, public speaking, poetry, and storytelling. Director of Jubilee Company, Jamila Javois, spoke to our news department.
I have always enjoyed the arts, theater in particular, and always, despite studying English, I've always done theater classes and, acted where I could,
right.
Even in Ian Vals's teenage drama company, growing up as a teen here, and I think that's where my love for theater grew. And through the years, just being involved in different plays, following drama courses, and I just was inspired about 4 years ago now to start something on the island, and something, not just something, but something inspirational, something where a company where we would help others to grow in their theater skills, and also produce plays that would be inspirational and that would, just make people, first of all, have fun, but also just share important messages, just everyday life messages through the productions.
Okay. What are you best known for?
That's a good question.
Educator?
Yeah, educator,
Okay,
student care coordinator,
okay.
I think.
You're into drama. You're a drama artist. What would you consider to be your best performance that you?
My best performance. Well,
Or your favorite performance then?
You mean that I?
Yes,
I
yes,
did?
yes.
Well, I don't know if you remember the play From Slavery to Obama by Mr. Felix Fleming from Anguilla, director. There was a play, do you remember that?
Yes, yes, yes.
I was asked to do a monologue.
Okay.
Well, he worked together with Clara Reyes, and so I was asked to do a monologue, one of Obama's speeches, which I considered an honor because at that time, you know, he was the first black president.
Exactly.
You know, and I was asked to do one of his monologues. Basically, I was an Obama. There were several, but I was one of them. And I think that was like that monologue was about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And I was proud to do it, and you know, I think the words were extremely powerful. And so I think that would be one of my favorite performances. Yeah.
All right. Give us some background about JJC, the Jubilee Company. It's about 4 years old, you said?
Yes. Well, the idea, the concept is 4 years old, but it was officially established last year in April 2019 as a foundation, profit foundation.
And still to come, Central Bank has accused Ansari of delaying court procedures. I'll have the details to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns. Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. As we continue now with other news, as the United St. Martin Party outlined its plan of action for 2021, MP Claudius Moncamper, speaking exclusively to our news department, elaborated on the code of conduct and the gift policy for parliamentarians. The Member of Parliament was interviewed by Fernando Clark in SXM Daily News' newsroom. The MP said that the finalization of the gift policy for parliamentarians is something that just needs to be done.
I think at this point in time, too often MPs get themselves caught up in positions where you are given a gift. At the end of the year, they send a bottle of champagne. The bottle of champagne costs $200. The next thing now, you have accepted an illegal gift. Or you go to a dinner, a reception. Where do you pull the line? What is it and what is it not? It needs to be, you can't just say a gift over 100 guilders. What does that mean? Because if you give me a dinner that's worth $100 at any good restaurant in St. Martin, that means I took a bribe. Even though I didn't give it nothing in return, I accepted a gift that I may not accept. I may not accept a dinner from you. Where does it stop? You know, it has to be defined. It's not defined enough in the code of conduct. And I think that's what we want to finish, to properly, you know, put it in line with what's the reality. I know we have in the integrity, the ad hoc integrity committee, we have had a lot of discussions about this. We have looked also at how it is done in the region, and we try to find common grounds that we don't, again, like I said, St. Martin is not the exception. We should try to balance how we move forward with these things, looking at within the kingdom and within the region.
Well, since we're on the MPs, let's talk about numeration that MPs get. Let's say if their term is ended prematurely, or if they resign or anything like that.
That is something that I campaigned on, and I have spoken to the chair of that committee already, the Electoral Reform Committee. It is something that is dear to my heart, and I believe, very unfortunately, we have pussyfooted on this for nearly a year now. Everybody campaigned on it because it was so a great thing. Oh boy, because the people always complain about the money the MPs get, the pension structure and all those things. And I told them from day one, what we earn is laid down in the law. And no Dutch government is going to tell us what we have to do or not. We should tell ourselves what we have to do and what is correct and what is incorrect. How they got to that salary 10 years ago, I don't know. But it will be interesting to see how they got to it. Because comparisons are made very often with the other entities and the other countries. The question is, how did they get to theirs and how did we get to ours? I met ours. I didn't make ours. But that doesn't take away that if ours is wrong, it should be adjusted. The problem I have, for example, though, is the payouts that MPs get or ministers get when their term ends. I have always stated this, and I'll state it here again for the viewers. Serving your country should be an honor, not a money-making business. When you serve, you are paid well to serve. Do your work. Because the problem is not how much money they were making, the problem is how much time they were spending doing the work. Because when you see the attendance records of the previous parliaments, you hold your head. Somebody's there 40%, 50, 60%. That's embarrassing. Everybody should be in the 90s. You can be sick or weak. I agree. You're going to have had something. But it cannot be so that you're at 50% or 60% or 70%. That's crazy. That's where we, in the Code of Conduct, have to start dealing with these type of things. In the integrity committees, we should deal with it, because that's an integrity matter. You're taking people's money and you're not working for it. Coming back to the whole electoral reform, in there we have to agree that because we have a lot of civil servants in Parliament, when your term is over, you go back to your job. And is there a transition period of 1 or 2 months? I can understand that. But this thing about a year, 2 years, that's absolute nonsense. This country can't afford it. People that come from the private sector, it's a little more difficult, because very often you don't just go back to your job. Civil servants, they're protected by the LMA. So they're given a leave of absence, and when their term in Parliament is finished, they go right back there and pick up their job. Same salary, everything. Maybe not the same position, but they can keep the salary. Because the government got to pay some back. Very often what has happened, because of a different government there, they put you in limbo and they don't worry with you. But if we function as a normal country, you go back and you do your work.
And as we continue now with other news, in news out of the island of Curaçao, Central Bank has accused Ansari of delaying court procedures. The so-called exhibition claim, whereby owner Hushang Ansari and the ex-directors of the insurance company Enya want to inspect all documents, is a sham, according to Enya and the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin, CBCS. They are only concerned with further delaying the procedure, which was initiated more than a year ago. In turn, Ansari and his associates believe that the liability proceedings against them are far-reaching accusations. Partly for this reason, they want full access to all evidence against them that insurance company Enya and regulators CBCS have. The judge was to decide this earlier today. There is no question of a so-called fishing expedition. According to Ansari's lawyers, it is true that Ansari and the rest of the defendants request access to many documents in terms of quantity, and it is also true that these are documents covering a longer period, lawyers Mirto Murray and Karan Duki admit. The point is, however, that in the alleged liability, it covers the entire period from the acquisition of Enya by Ansari from Delta Lloyd in 2005-2006 to the moment when the court pronounced the emergency regulation in July of 2018 at the request of the CBCS. That is, the 5 Enya companies controlled by CBCS, since the emergency settlement, had previously offered to allow defendant owner Ansari to inspect some of the claimed records. However, the lawyers for Enya and the CBCS argued that granting the exhibition claim could lead to many months of delay. This while the procedure has been running since the end of 2019 and has not even started yet. The number of documents that Ansari is claiming copies of, coupled with the impenetrable, chaotic records left by the ex-directors with Enya, will make it impossible for the insurer to comply with a conviction within a reasonable time frame. Resulting of this big delay, the policyholders will have to pay the price for that. Is the fear. In addition, the shareholder and former directors, Abdallah Andraos, Ralph Palm, Nina Ansari, daughter of the 95-year-old owner and owner company Parmain International BV, already have the documents of which they now want a copy. This is according to the lawyers Karina Keizer, Sabine Altena, and Michael van den Brink on behalf of Enya and the CBCS. Hushang and Nina Ansari, as well as Andraos, used private email accounts for their email correspondence. This means that they and Enya and the CBCS in particular do not have access to their correspondence with the insurance company. Many other documents from the administration have also been sent to them by email in recent years. The lawyers then gave a whole series of examples on behalf of Enya and the CBCS to illustrate the assertion that Ansari already received and has received a lot of documents from them both, the management at the time and the so-called silent curators later. These examples, of which there are many, show that the exhibition claim is a sham. They have no interest in this at all because they already have documents that may be relevant to their defense. The importance is to further delay the procedure. Now, turning to our weather forecast for January the 18th, 2021. The Atlantic high pressure ridge is a dominant feature across the region. Moisture transported across the region may account for cloudy periods and a few passing showers over the local area. Sea conditions are forecast to peak up to 7 feet during this forecast period. From Tuesday, a further deterioration can be expected. Therefore, small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise caution. So the outlook through Wednesday midday, fair to partly cloudy and breezy with brief showers. Now, let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, President of WIFO gives updates on the various resorts on the island. I'll have the details of that story when SXM Daily News returns.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we continue now with this local COVID-19 update, as of January the 17th, there were 15 persons who tested positive for COVID-19. However, 10 persons have recovered, bringing the total active cases to 128. The total number of confirmed cases is now 1,656. The Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 127 people in home isolation. One patient is hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 27. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin has increased to 1,501. 286 people are in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS. The Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSA, the Airport Health Team, in collaboration with the Healthcare Laboratory St. Martin, HCLS, have tested 2,216 travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport, while CPS has tested 12,629 people throughout the community. As the numbers continue to fluctuate, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. Please continue to protect yourself when in public places. Wear a mask, maintain a social distance of 2 meters, wash or sanitize your hands frequently, and refrain from attending mass gatherings. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, President of WIFL, Theophilus Thompson, in addressing the situation at the various resorts on the island, namely the workers at Puerto Cupucoy last Thursday, January the 14th, at a press conference, he said that Puerto Cupucoy is a very rebellious company. The union boss elaborated further. The union boss also addressed the issues at Mullet Bay Towers and the worker salaries at Sonesta Great Bay Resort.
We have another company which we are concerned about, which is Puerto Cupucoy, a very rebellious company. Just to give you a brief summary, a brief historical summary, when WIFL represented those workers, a referendum was called. That company refused to attend meetings to have the referendum. And there was nothing drastic or nothing taken against them by the Labor Department with regards to how they're acting. In recent times, we sent in a request for mediation because the company has cut the employee's salary, and that is a company that deals with homeowners who own condos, who own properties, and they pay their annual subscription fees. Like I mentioned in previous broadcasts, that during the month of November, all homeowners in timeshare properties as well as condos receive their invoices that they should pay their annual fee no later than February. Right now, most of them have already received, and they're still paying employees cut salaries, saying that they're waiting on the SZV to give them the subsidy, which is nonsense. Frankly speaking, who you for? It is important to note that that company is refusing to obey and comply to requests from the Labor Department to meet and to discuss matters. As a matter of fact, there are examples which I won't share right now to show the disrespect for that department. We have the towers at Mullet Bay. Mr. Ansari, who is a multimillionaire with investment not only on St. Martin but throughout the other islands of the Antilles and other parts of the world, he has his problem with different companies which he was part of. However, that has nothing to do with the employees at Mullet Bay, who they have stopped paid a couple of months ago by sending them home. A court case is in the making, and we know that we are looking forward for the outcome of that court case, but we are hoping that we don't have to wait for that the mediator, who don't have to wait for requests but intervene. It already started, that process already started, but there needs to be what you call a concrete follow-up. And while other industries, other part of the industry is coming back since the year started, it's important to bring these things forward, because while the towers are closed and how they deal with their shareholders or timeshare property owners, we have no clue about that, but they know how they're dealing with them in paying their annual fees.
And with that, viewers, it brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for tuning in this evening. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.